Hey everyone, welcome back to another Anime Kingdom reviews. You can see my title below. This is on episode 17 of Macross Delta, and I gotta admit, I actually really enjoyed this episode. It was like a full-blown concert kind of thing. We had a whole bunch of songs, you know, old songs, which I loved already before, and I think like 2 new songs, which honestly I loved as well. The main thing of this anime that I've loved so far, obviously, now I mean there's a ton of things as well, but one of the main things is obviously the music, the songs, and I honestly, like, in the past couple episodes, we've been getting a lot more songs. Last episode we got a couple, this one we got a couple, including a huge concert-like thing, to which, may I add, had a lot of fan service. I have to admit, this episode was concert and fan service. That's what the title should be called. But like, I want to ask you Macross fans, is this normal? Like, throughout the whole season there wasn't really any fan service. Then all of a sudden this episode we had a ton of fan service. Is the other Macross series have fan service at all? Is it like this one where there's only like one episode, or is it like normally it's just like a fan service here and there throughout the season? Because I was actually surprised that there wasn't any fan service in this at all, until obviously this one had a bunch. And now if there isn't any fan service in any of the other, you know, Macross series, that would make this pretty interesting as well, because there's probably a lot of you that would probably be like, why is there fan service? Why do we need that? That's not needed. This episode wasn't really needed. But I gotta say, I'm a simple man. I love myself some fan service. I'm not saying I want fan service like all the time, but come on, fan service here and there is pretty damn nice. And this is only like one episode out of 17 already that we've gotten. I say that's good for some fan service in this episode. To which I have to also admit, like, besides the fact that at the beginning we got to see all of them in this like outfit, to which I don't even know what the outfit is. It's like an Amazonian kind of outfit, which was pretty damn sexy. I gotta admit, Machina stole the show for this one. She seemed to be the main attraction for this, and I can see why. Because obviously, I gotta admit that I've never really cared for Machina and Reina as much as the other girls in Watercure. When I think of Watercure, I think of Mikomo at the forefront. She's beautiful, she has an amazing voice, she's got this mysterious vibe kind of thing, and we still don't know a lot about her. And then you got Freya, who's also at the front now. She's new. I love her relationship with Hayate. She's such a big impact on the show overall. And then even Kaname. We never really knew much about her before, you know, and then all of a sudden the Messer episodes and everything throughout the last couple episodes before, she's had such a much bigger impact. I've enjoyed her, just her version, her only, you know, her song that she was just her. That was also really nice. I really like that song, and like I've grown to like her as well. Like, so I would say like my favorite at the moment is like, it's hard between Mikomo and Freya, but I would say Freya at the front because I love Freya. Mikomo, then of course Kaname, and then it'd be Machina and Reina after that. This episode definitely proved one thing though for Machina, that she may not be the best girl in my opinion. I would definitely not say Machina's the best girl, but damn does she have the best body. Like, I'm sorry, I know you're probably like, damn, you're such a pervert, this is not what the show is about, but come on, I'm a simple man. When you see Oppai, you gotta love it, right? The amount of fan service that in this episode was like, wow, okay, like full on. It's not even just, you know, fan service just for fan service. It made sense, kind of. The concert and everything was for, you know, to put the virus in. And not only that, Arad, good job, you also make a ton of money. They needed money for, you know, for the war. So they made a ton of money. Those people were like, Machina, hearts in their eyes, paying so much money, because obviously if they do, you know, we got a scene with Machina like, hey, press here on her boob and everything, and all of a sudden you have a picture of her in just a shirt, picture of her lying down, and I'm just over here like, yeah, I'd probably pay some money to get those pictures as well, because yeah, that's worth it. And hey, it's helping out helping out humanity as well, helping out, you know, them beat with the Wintermen again, you know, and not have them be enslaved by the Wintermen's virus, you know, singing thing. So hey, fan service, good job. But yeah, let's get past that fan service part. Let's talk about what else happened in this episode, because there's a lot of things besides the concert and fan service that actually intrigued me a lot in this episode. First off being, we do have this kind of like a monologue with Roy talking about like a recap of what's going on and kind of showing why he wants to wage war? Why does he feel? It's pretty much he feels jealous. Like, why do they have this? Why do they have that? Why is humanity lucky enough to be able to live this long while we can only live this long? You know, it really shows like kind of why Royd is doing all this stuff. Not just because obviously it being he feels that the Wintermen have been enslaved and hurt and all this kind of stuff. It also shows this because of his jealousy. He thinks that the Wintermen are the one that deserve this, not humanity. So it kind of also shows that childish kind of side, that jealous side that we see in a lot of people, period, and a lot of these kind of things. So it makes sense, and it shows that. Another thing with the Winterman side is that we see, that the younger side they totally approve the war. But the older side, not as much. Obviously, we see Castum as well. You see him before and in this one that he has his doubts. He doesn't really like the way this is going. And in the preview of this episode, it does show that whole thing with him pretty much, like, it seems to be him in front and talking with Freya and Hayate. So there's a possibility of infighting. Like I said before, I was thinking something was going to happen, that not everyone is going to agree with what Royd wants to do. Like, obviously, Wintermen, they're all about chivalry and all this kind of stuff, So this is not honor. This is not anything like that. This is just Royd wanting to conquer the galaxy kind of thing, thinking they deserve this kind of stuff. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of people, I feel, that are not going to like that. And I feel like Castum will be one of those people to lead these forces. Obviously, maybe make a deal with the nuns and everything and fight against what Royd is doing and everything, It's pretty dang interesting to learn that kind of stuff, because I've been wondering throughout before, is there ever going to be infighting? And I'm still wondering, is Keith really full on board with Royd, what Royd has to do? Because it always seems like he'd be at the front against Royd, their ideals clashing kind of thing. And I have a feeling something's going to happen in the episode with that, but probably later on, not too sure when. Now, another thing besides that happening, obviously, is the whole thing. Okay, I'm going to say this right now for anyone who doesn't care too much of shipping. It still has definitely a big deal with the whole love triangle. Actually, one of the things I really like in the fact that the first episode was more like introductory, kind of talking about the world of, Macross Delta, Watercure, the Wintermen, all that kind of stuff. Training as well. And then towards the middle, we start to get really serious. We lose lives, rest in peace, Messer, and a whole bunch of other things like that. It starts to get a lot more serious, a lot more dreadful. And then all of a sudden, this middle point of the whole thing has been going on with a whole bunch of more questions revolving around Mikomo. For example, in this episode, we get to see like her. Also, Freya mentioned something like her singing is different, and we see that it affects her, and she even tells Konami before in the last episode. Obviously, she never had any, no one celebrated her birthdays, and we get a little bit more insight on this, like how she never knew her parents, never knew where she was born or lived or anything. And it kind of leads to that fact that everyone's been saying like she was born in a tube or something like that, and also maybe like some connection to the proto-culture or something like that as well, because she has no memories of the past. It seems like it points towards so much that possibility to do with Mikomo. That's pretty dang interesting on that point as well. And other than Mikomo, there's also another things that has really interested me and really brought up different questions for this is obviously Hayate's father, to which of course finally in this episode we do figure out that what we have all been thinking of, I predicted it, you predicted it, a lot of us predicted it, that he was the one who dropped the dimensional weapon, the bomb, on the planet. Guess what? We finally figured out, yes, he is the one. Now, the reasons why, we still do not know. So we got one question answered with a bunch still open. We still don't know, why did he do it? I like the way Hayate's thinking, and he may be pissed off right now, but he has a job to do, he's got to do this, and he'll find the truth himself, because the full truth is not fully there. We know that he dropped the bomb on a nun's base and everything like that, and also killed some civilians as well, but it could have been for a reason. Maybe he wanted to stop the nuns from attacking the Wintermans there. Obviously they had the bomb there, so it might have been planned to use that bomb in the first place before that already. So it's a lot of things that could point to his father doing it for the right reasons, And another thing that, besides the questions of these episodes have been, is that they put more of a focal point on the love triangle. And that is something that, I've been wondering for quite a while. Like, it's weird because it wasn't really a main thing. It always felt like an afterthought to the writers of Macross Delta. That in the fact that obviously the beginning part, nothing really came of it. You know, it obviously there was some connection between Freya and Hayate, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it comes to Mirage all of a sudden having feelings for him. The love triangle always felt so forced, and even when it did have it, in the point of having, like, sometime in these past episodes, we have, you know, we have Freya, then we have Mirage, then we have Freya, then we have Mirage. It's always been more of a focal point on Freya, more of her having more of an impact with the relationship of Hayate, and more of, you know, kind of an angst, kind of sad kind of feeling with Mirage, and never really going good for her. And that's one thing that also scares me, because everything just seems too good to be true, you know. I am a Freya and Hayate fan. I want them to be together so bad. I ship them so hard, and I'm sorry, this might be a little bit off. If you guys don't really care too much about shipping and everything, this is still focusing on the love triangle, so you still may want to stay here and listen to this. But if you don't really care too much for shipping and all that kind of stuff, or the love triangle, then you may want to skip a little bit ahead in the video. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna start talking about this now, that I am actually honestly really scared for Freya and Hayate. This episode showed a bunch. Obviously, one of the things that someone mentioned before, and I did mention, you know, I thought as well, but I was like, maybe not. But it definitely solidifies in this episode that Freya, maybe not intentionally, is using her singing, and it is going kind of like having a Var's effect on Hayate. And it seems like before, it was all nice and good. You know, he has this connection. He could feel the wind and everything kind of thing, him flying. And this one, it was like he was falling, and it was just too much for him, and he almost pretty much passed out and stuff. And that's kind of scary. And it might be something that kind of like, it comes out and she may not do it intentionally, but Hayate gets scared of her or something like that. That is something that may split them apart. Another thing is obviously the whole thing with the Winderman, his dad dropping the Winderman bomb on the planet. Obviously you saw her reaction as well, and that kind of might tear, you know, a rift in between them as well. And who would be there to comfort him? Mirage. So that's another thing as well. Now another thing is there's so many different reasons that it would not work. Obviously, usually, like you guys have said, a ton of people have said that normally in the Macross series the older girl always wins. And I always love to make the joke and stuff that, you know, Mirage is not actually as old. Freya is the older one. She's already halfway through her life, so theoretically she is actually the older girl. So Freya wins, right? That's what I would like to say. But usually it's the older girl, and that would be Mirage. Everything seems to be good, you know, good to be true. So it might just like all of a sudden everything has been a big impact for Freya, so we might all of a sudden have a big impact for Mirage. Not too sure what it would be, but that's a possibility. And there's always the thing with obviously Freya's life is not, she won't be living as long because their lives are shorter. And even in this, there was a little tension in between when he was like, oh, it's only a couple of years kind of thing. And it showed like all of a sudden she felt like that, and he, you know, sad and all that kind of stuff. And it really just like, oh my gosh, please let them to be together. Please let them be together. And there's a thing with the whole, there was a lot of cute moments as well. Obviously, he was being affected by it. I don't know either. Come on, Hayate, why you gotta be the, you know, normal male main character, dense and oblivious to everything? Obviously, Freya is in love with you. And when she was going to confess, oh my gosh, when she was going to confess, I was so ready for it. And boom, guess what? Old people come. Why you gotta interrupt them? Really? Like, holy crap. Like, totally just interrupted and stopped that confession from happening. I was like, I wanted to just like grab my monitor, just throw it. Like, really? Are you kidding me, old people? I'm glad you enjoyed the show. I enjoyed it too. There was a lot of fan service. The guy was probably like looking at his wife, okay, she's not looking, Machina. I'm just kidding. But like, seriously, come on. There was a moment with that she was finally going to confess. And that kind of thing is normally, if it was like true, they would confess kind of thing. But it obviously shows that there's something that the writers want to do, and it's still like, nope, this is still a love triangle. We're not letting her confess yet kind of thing go on. And it really scares me with that point. But of course, I was honestly happy because there was the moment, obviously, you know, he does obviously have feelings for her. He does. She has feelings for him. Now, you know, some people might say, no, it's probably all the Vors thing going on. She's mind controlling him. That is definitely not true. Maybe a little bit towards certain points, like we've been seeing, but I still think that he really does have feelings for her. He really does care about her, and I'm still hoping for more of that in the future, of them being together. I'm still hoping. I'm a faithful Hayate and Freya shipper. My ship that ship will not sink. I'm sorry, Mirage fans, but that's just how I feel. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for that part. At least it's interesting to see that they're finally putting a focus on the love triangle, at least, you know, because before, like I said before, it feels like it came out of nowhere and it felt forced. Now at least they're trying to actually make it something, and for that to be a fully something, there's gotta be some heartbreak for, you know, Freya. I'm scared for that, but there's gotta be, and there's gotta be some good point for Mirage. I don't want that to happen, but it's got to be for it to be a love triangle. Now, I'm not someone that wants a love triangle, period, but that's just how it is. If it's going to be a love triangle, you have to have this kind of stuff, and right now, at this moment, it doesn't even feel like a triangle for me. It just feels Mirage on the side with, you know, Freya and Hayate meant to be together. That's just how I feel. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that part. So other than that, that was pretty much the episode overall. Wow, this is already like 16 something minutes long. I'm sorry for it being so long, but literally this episode was awesome. It had a whole bunch of things, like I said before. It had the beginning part with the recap kind of thing, showing Roy's point of view. Also, I don't think I mentioned this. I almost forgot, or did I mention it? Also, Roy is having these. He's like, you know, looking at Mirage and Freya, not Mirage and Freya, Freya and Mikomo. He's researching them. He says he's, you know, researching them because they're the enemy. But come on, we all know that he is totally a fanboy. He's probably the biggest Watercure fanboy here. Nah, joking aside, it seems interesting that like there may be something going on later on that we see that for some reason he is researching them a lot. That maybe he plans to use one of them somewhere along in the future, and that's pretty dang interesting and crazy to think about. Like, what is he gonna do with them? What does he have planned? Does he plan to use Heinz, then after throw him aside and use, you know, Freya or Mikomo? That's pretty crazy as well. But yeah, other than that, the Winterman side, like I said, possibility of infighting, all of a sudden this huge point of the love triangle, whole bunch of questions answered kind of, and then a whole bunch of questions left open with, you know, Hayate's father. The whole thing with what, you know, Mikomo is still a mystery. There's so many questions I still have left. There's like 8 episodes left in the season, so things are going to start to get pretty damn crazy. A lot more action probably in the future, maybe hopefully more songs, but there's still a lot that I am happy and excited for after this episode. But overall, that's really all I gotta say, guys. Pretty damn long episode review, I know. Sorry for that, but yeah, I just love this episode. Awesome concert episode, awesome fan service, ton of mystery going on, straining on the love triangle part, but still there, and then a whole bunch of mysteries and questions left open that really do a good job of building up to the next future episodes. But yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. Hope you enjoyed this Anime Kingdom review. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like. And if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe. It really does help. And yeah, until next time, guys. See ya.